In their rush for a future, these people are fighting to save their past. After decades of losing land and culture to waves of foreign settlers, Mindanao's native races are making a stand. But they're facing a new threat, this time from an Australian corporate giant.
Yes, I'm asking the Australians and the Western Mining Company in particular just to leave us alone, just to keep our environment free, just don't disturb our people.
But no ordinary environmental debate. This has the potential to shatter peace in the region.
We consider the operation of the mining corporation as an offensive action against the native people of the area. And we have the right to defend these people. We have the right to defend our homeland.
In southern Mindanao, spectacular volcanic ridges have for centuries supported life. But the real wealth, vast mineral reserves, lie untouched beneath the surface. It's here Australia's Western Mining Corporation has just discovered Asia's second biggest copper find. And while that's no doubt pleasing shareholders, it's not the same for many local communities who fear it will destroy their unique way of life.
They call it Sacred Mountain. It is a mossy forest, the only part of this virgin tropical forest in the area. That's where this new mining company set up the camp, base camp. And then the news went around to the tribal communities and then the tribal organizations, and they began to react because they feel that whatever is left of their ancestral lands or territories now is being taken over by this gigantic company.
Western Mining Corporation, WMC, is such a company. It is a minerals and energy company determined to be the best and gives high priority to ethical behavior, environmental responsibility, cultural sensitivity.
Sensitivity that Western Mining hopes will help it win over suspicious locals. Drawn by new financial incentives for foreign firms, Western Mining believes its venture will create jobs and prosperity in a country desperate for foreign investment. All, it says, without the expected environmental destruction.
What we want to let the people know, that the company is very, very concerned with the environment. That we are not only going to cut trees and then open the land and then throw our waste everywhere. That's not how it's done, because there is a best mining practice.
Sentiments are positive with the signing of the agreement. The benefits
to Western
ran
Mining,
a lot deeper
local leaders
through their
agree.
community.
Dili gyud masulti ang kalipay sa katawhan gawa sa konsiho.
But some influential people are not convinced. United Church pastor Avelino Sichon is preaching a different message.
Mga kabataan, kabalo mo nga ang pagmina makadaot sa kinaiyahan. Ang Western Mining Corporation, nagamina ka na sila aron puhaon nila ang atong mga bulawan, ang atong puthaw, tinalom sa atong mga kabukiran.
Western Mining says that will not happen, but the pastor fears for the future.
When the mine that place, and there is big possibility that this water intake structure will be destroyed. So the danger there is time will come, these big rivers will become dry, So it will affect the lowland farmers.
Halimbawa, walang bagong nangyari sa Colombia, no?
But there are more than just environmental concerns.
Kalma man, ang dati ang pinakagrabe ang granite.
For 20 years, Columban missionary Father Peter Gramier has worked with the tribes here.
They believe in the spirits of the tree, the spirit of the land, rivers, mountains. But because of this way of looking of nature, they do not understand why supposed bulldozers would destroy one part of the mountain. That's something that would be like destroying what is sacred to them.
Despite Western mining assurances that it's environmentally and culturally sensitive, opposition to the mine comes from a broad church. In the devoutly Catholic Philippines, it does not pay to have the church offside. This is not the first clash between the clergy and the corporate. Priests and nuns have a reputation for campaigning against what they see as the sins of big business. And for the tribal Highlanders, Sister Susan Bolaño is a Capes Crusader.
They are indigenous people, and they identify themselves with nature, and they identify themselves with the soil, and mining would eventually destroy their land.
It's certainly not the first time a mine has provoked such concerns, but here there's something very different. To find out more, we travel deep into the mountains that have, until now, been the frontier between two worlds. Mountains that have protected the last tribal homelands from waves of land-grabbing settlers. For Sister Susan, this is not a pastoral visit, this is a council of war.
Na naglayas. So may initial sila na ariglo noon.
These are a fiercely independent people defending the last of their lands and their tribal customs.
Samantalang tayo may batas, mga Plaang tribe, sa kabundukan. Ang mga problema, huwag natin habulin na maging dami ang patay.
The Blaan have been here for hundreds of years, and this meeting is about something just as old. Someone's wife has run off with another man. The result, 3 people have been shot dead. But this fight among themselves is also a fight to retain their culture. For centuries, these people have been a law unto themselves, and Madion Malid knows this better than most. He's the area's oldest and most respected Balaan chief. Eventually this tribal squabble is peacefully resolved, but the elders are troubled by a new threat brewing on the horizon, one they see as challenging tradition and undermining tribal life.
The people of Mindanao are learning that they must judge WMC, not by any past experience they may have had with less reputable mining companies, but by the company's record of achievement.
Achievements like health clinics, schools, houses and water supplies, all donated by Western Mining, with the promise of more to come if the mine goes ahead.
The benefits have come, not as bribes, as some would claim, but in recognition of the part the tribal councils must play in any future development.
Pero katong panghatag pagpirma namon to sa heads of agreement.
Chief Madion has been a chief beneficiary of Western Mining's patronage. The company built him a new house, and for his village of Salnaong, a school and community centre. Ignored by their own government, such corporate largesse was gratefully received by the wide-eyed villagers.
From our experience, it is very obvious that the services provided by WMC was actually with string attached. It's very clear to us now that really the projects WMC is initiating for the community is because they have to get an interest. They have a vested interest to the community. The community opposed their presence. They began to withdraw their services.
After first agreeing with Western Mining's proposal, Chief Madion later changed his mind.
So we use this road.
Western
Now,
Mining strenuously
exclusively
denies
for,
enlisting
employees
military
for now.
support.
No, absolutely. That's preposterous. That's preposterous. That's just preposterous because we have consultations. Before the agreement was signed, there's this final question. If you have any questions, then you better ask it now because we are going to sign this agreement. So if you don't have any more questions, then let's sign this agreement. So it means that if there is no question, so they understand.
What's also well understood here is that in the past, troops have protected logging and other businesses against tribal hostilities.
We are after against the enemies of the state. And this particular company is for the development of the place. And so it's also our concern to protect this from any threat forces.
And there's real cause for alarm. This is rebel territory, a heavily fortified separatist Islamic state run by the MILF, the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, a militant Muslim insurgency fighting for indigenous rights. A fragile ceasefire keeps fighting at bay for now, but here at Camp Abu Bakr, the guerrillas keep a well-defended base. It's a homeland where every available man is trained and armed, and where thousands of Muslims leave their normal lives for weeks of intensive training every year. Al-Hajj Murad is the guerrillas' military commander. When the locals speak, he listens, and he doesn't like what he's hearing about Western Mining.
Especially with the case of Western Mining Corporation. It is coming here to exploit the natural resources of our land, and these natural resources is a God-given wealth for the people.
There's now a real chance the company's presence could reignite violence.
Well, there is an existing ceasefire now between the military and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. But it doesn't mean that we have lost our rights to defend ourselves, because we consider the operation of the mining corporation as an offensive action against the native people of the area. And we have the right to defend these people. We have the right to defend our homeland.
Anti-craft, siya man sa di plano. Maya.
The MILF vow to defend their land and people not only poses a threat to the ceasefire, it's also a real risk for the Western Mining venture.
We always have the support of the government, and then I think the government is going to do all that they can to protect the people, the community. Okay, so of course we have to ask for help, and then they're going to provide us with help. We have confidence in the government.
Okay, that would mean using the army, I take it.
Yes.
When MILF will create trouble, then the military will go after them.
And the arrival of Western mining has already split the community and stirred tribal fears.
Tapos tungod sa amon nga kagamay sa lugar sa area nga sa pagsulod sining mining corporation sa area sa Columbio, nag-antay gid man ang tribo namon, ang organisasyon namon tungod kay ang amon nga duta nga nabilin.
So worried are some tribal leaders here, they've now lodged a Supreme Court challenge, arguing their native title claims should take legal precedence over mining rights for foreign companies.
Land is life, and this is where our next generation will be getting their life. So when the resources of our land will be get by the foreign companies like the Western Mining Corporation, what will happen to our next generation?
I believe the company for exploiting the poverty of the bankruptcy of our government. Bankruptcy in the sense that our government does not have enough money to provide services to those far-flung communities. So that keeps our government dependent on WMC, dependent on foreign companies, dependent on foreign agency to develop our own community.
But it's a dependency that could yet be shaken by community unease.
Well, I suppose the answer there is we will not run roughshod over, we will not favor a big conglomerate over the interests of the small person. On the other hand, we will not also be anti-foreign investment in this particular instance or in any instance. We just have to make sure that everybody's interest is taken into consideration. We realize this is a contentious issue.
So contentious, in fact, a government review could jeopardise Western Mining's venture. But in an age where tribal identity has been reduced to little more than theatre, it's easy to see the government here dancing to a foreign tune.